welcome to a new video, and today we're at Rye House for round number 1 of the Club 100 Junior Super Lightweight season for 2024. I'm really excited for this round. Weather's looking pretty nice. It said it was going to rain a few days ago, but I think the weather's changed, so it's probably going to rain now. Yeah, definitely improvements to be made over last Rye House round, which was last year. Came like P9 or something. Yeah, definitely know where I can improve. New competition this year, like Logan McAllister, Jack Harrison, and yeah, should be really fun.
Morning.
So how are we, Jack, this morning?
We're good this morning, yeah. Focused on hopefully bringing home a top 10 finish in the A final.
Yes, that's your goal, top 10?
Yeah.
What are you going to focus on in this testing?
Just finding the limit of the brakes, because especially here you want good brake rotation.
Yeah.
And these karts are weird brakes, and I'm used to Rotax brakes, so
yeah.
It should be weird, but I'll get that out of it.
Yeah.
Especially in hairpin 1, you really got to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So excited?
Always.
Yeah. Any dive bombs into turn 1?
Of course.
Yeah, you're quite experienced around Rye House, aren't you?
Yeah,
so,
I'm Rye House bandit.
You are a Rye House bandit,
Yeah.
so expecting good things, Jack.
Yes, thank you. Let's do it.
So as it's a new season, we've got brand new karts, the same chassis engine as last year, but I think the brakes are slightly different, so it's quite a lot easier to lock up, I found at Buckmore. But yeah, should be great fun to drive around Rye House. So we are out for practice for our first round of the Club 100 season. Definitely done quite a lot of practice around Rye House on my kart sim, which I should actually make a video on, because it's really helped me practice my lines for this track, which I really struggled with last year, especially like the hairpins where I lost a lot of time. And I'm wanting to just try and get to grips with this kart as quickly as I can around this track. So let's go for our first flying lap, so down the straight, into turn 1, trying to keep it nice and smooth and let the kart grip up there, try and hit the curb, maximise the speed down here, heavy braking into hairpin 1, like Jack says, using the brakes for rotation, just clipping the curb to help the rotation even more, down to second hairpin, dab the brakes, let the kart drift wide naturally, using all the curb on the left, and now going towards pylon, little lift or little brake as the tyres are still a bit cold, chuck it in, and flat round this left-hander into the final corner, little lift, and use all the exit curb. And you know what? That was actually a pretty good first lap. Our lines are already looking quite on point. But what I'm noticing in this session already is that I'm driving well. Ooh, a bit of a lock up there, but still somehow make the corner. I was going to say I was driving well, but anyway, my lines are actually pretty good, but I'm noticing people in front of me, so that's Alfie Lambar in front and then Logan in front of him, are just completely pulling away from me, and that's quite unusual because usually I'm sort of on pace with them, like at Buckmore Park, Alfie and me were quite close on pace and Logan and me were quite close on pace. So I'm a bit confused here, and I figure out why when I come up to some back markers and when I get overtaken. So you see here, going into turn 1, I get overtaken by Henry Barrington, who's actually a pretty fast driver from last year. Who's done, I think, a round or 2 last year, and he was pretty on point with his pace. So you see here, going into turn 1, I get a pretty good exit, and you just see, I just seem to have a lot less power than he does. So again, going through turn 2, you could just see there, like the difference in power coming out the corner is quite significant. So that's why I figured out why my car was quite off the pace. So going through hairpin 2, get a pretty bad run, but I still use all the track on exit. And you see on the right hand side, we actually get overtaken by George around the outside, which sort of shows the lack of pace this kart has. As you see, I'm just trying to follow him around the final few corners, and look, he's just gone. This kart just doesn't seem to want to go, but it's making me push harder, which makes me like sort of refine my lines more, because I sort of thought partway through the session that I was just, well, rubbish. So when you see Logan then dives down the inside through turn 1, and you're going to see again the same difference where he's just going. Gain a bit of time on the brake, and he sends one up the inside of the driver in front. Lovely move by Logan. I think I'll link his channel in the top right. And we try and pull off a switch back on the guy in front, but it's just not possible really. And we're going to send one up the inside. And I actually really struggled with that overtake, because you saw I was in the slipstream and I got a better exit because he slid. But he still almost kept me off. But he's got some traffic in front of him, so maybe I can pull off an overtake. Going in the slipstream, head down, and that's actually the end of practice.
So that was the first practice session. Didn't really go to plan, as that kart didn't seem to have any power coming out the corners. My lines felt good, but it looks like it might start raining in a second, so I'm gonna grab my wet gear. Happy with my pace, but the car just didn't have any pace going down the straight, so yeah, hopefully improve the next session.
So here we are for qualifying. I'm really wanting to set a good qualifying lap in this session, because I really want to start near the front, because Rye House, if you're sort of at the back, it's quite easy to get tangled in like a crash. So really wanting to stay near the front, and especially if you start on the outside, because you've got no hope going through here, turn 1, because you'll just get flown off the track. So I'm really wanting to get some good laps in this session. Already, this kart feels like it's got a bit more pace than the other kart, so I'm going to really just try and push hard in this kart. As you can see, he's really sliding it round on the brakes, trying to get those tyres up to temperature. Slightly clobbered the curb there, but that actually wasn't too bad around there. So, going through pylon, still not gripped up yet, but there's some ominous looking clouds over there. And the weather forecast said that there could be some possible rain very shortly, so I really need to get some good laps in at the start and middle of the session, because I knew that the rain would come down and it was getting like colder very quickly, so I knew I just had to push really hard and get these laps early on in the session. So that's why I slowed down at the start with Logan, to just try and build a gap, so I had some clear air like I do now, which I have quite a lot. Oh, yellow flag there, someone's clobbered the barrier. Getting a bit too close to that pylon. Someone lets us in front. And yeah, I mean, running a bit wide there, but you can see I'm really pushing hard. I'm trying to get used to this quicker kart compared to the other one. But it already just feels so much better than before. So going through hairpin 1, late on the brakes, turn it in, just hit the curb, run it wide, using all the track. Then into here, dab the brake, and then let the kart flow really wide. And use all the curb on the left, maximising your exit speed, keep the revs up. Little lift or dab the brakes around here, and then hard on the brakes and chuck it in. Slide a bit too much there actually. And then flat round there, and then dab the brake, try and hook on that curb on the inside, and then maximise your speed going on to the next straight. And that was a half decent lap, apart from pylon where I sort of slid a bit too wide. But let's skip to my fastest lap of the session. the session. As you can see, it's quite early on. I think this was lap 7, and you're going to see that it was a really good idea of mine to try and set these laps earlier rather than later. So as you can see, literally about 3 laps later, you can see how much darker it is already, and you can see that on the left it looks like there's a huge cloud just about to drop all the rain on the circuit. As you see, a little raindrop going through turn 1. You can see I'm getting a lot more out of shape and I have to slow the kart down quite a lot more. See, big slide going through turn 2, and I'm braking on the inside because I'm sort of noticing that it's wet, or like raining, but I think I overestimated there how wet it was. But I knew the rain was coming. Going through pylon, gonna see the grip levels. You can see, look at that understeer and then look at that oversteer. The rain is starting to come down on the circuit. You'll see slippery surface flag is now out. Trying to get a feel for the grip levels now. Going through turn 1. Still got some grip. I'm going to try hook up the curb, and that's a pretty good line through there. Down into hairpin 1. It's getting a bit missing the apex by quite a long way. You can see I braked to my normal point and the grip isn't there anymore due to the rain. Now going towards pylon, you can see it's coming down quite a lot harder now, and I almost go flying off the circuit like that guy did there. So I'm going to try to take a little bit of a wet line around there, but it's sort of half wet, half dry, and it's really slippy here now, as you can see. I'm having to go very slow, and you can see it's coming down harder on the circuit. As you can see, it's properly hailing now. That's hail, not rain. Going into turn 1, just literally a lap ago it was still sort of dry, and now just look, it's like completely wet. So I'm gonna have to brake on the inside, slide it in. Look at the hail coming down on the circuit. And now going towards hairpin 2, we're going to just see, just look how little grip there is now. And I'm just trying to get a feel for the wet line around here because I have actually no idea what the wet line is. You can see it's properly wet now, and there's contact up in front trying to get past these guys, but it's not like I'm going to set a quicker lap now. And you just see, look, there's no grip on the outside there of the circuit as I just go skimming off. I'm going to try and hook on the curb on the inside like that, and I think that's the checkered flag for the end of the session already. So a very hectic session, and I end up coming in P6 with a 41.9, which is only 0.15 of a second off fastest lap of my group. So pretty happy with my pace, but it's super close out there.
It's a bit wet, lol. It's a bit wet. In about a minute, the track went from being fully dry to like started spitting, and then now it's just like completely drenched in like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna look around the track, try and figure out the wet line because I have no idea what it is. And
the wet bandit.
We're with Charlie Foster here.
The wet weather bandit.
And I'm gonna try and learn some stuff off him. So also qualified P17. I'm not the greatest, but I would have, like, if they did the normal sort of way of qualifying, I would have started like 6th. So it's not too bad. But when I was starting to get my good laps in, that's when it started raining. So, oh my.
So here we go for our first race of the Club 100 Junior Super Lightweight season, starting P17, and it's go, and we're going straight towards the first corner. We seem to have got a pretty good start and already made our way past a few people. Someone went really wide there. We're going to follow this driver through, And we almost get the run on this guy, but we're on the outside now, which is not great. And now we're going to try send one up the inside of the orange guy, but we get stuck between two karts there, and that loses all our momentum and loses all the positions we've just gained. So we're sort of back down to almost worse than we started. And you see that driver in front of us, Don Balasitis, is not happy with that start either. Now we're going to have to try and find a way past these drivers in front and try and get a decent position. Right, following thoughts about a move up the inside there, but it wasn't quite going to work. And I'm just going to have to try and catch up as fast as I can and make the move as fast as I can, because these races aren't very long. They're only 11 minutes long, so you've not got much time to waste really. So going into the hairpin, gain a lot of time on the brakes. Wow, look at that. And make sure to get the most speed as we can on the exit. Again, those clouds look quite ominous. The track dried up very fast, so as you saw on my track walk, it was completely wet, and then somehow, like an hour or two later, oh, someone's in the walls! As I'm yapping about the weather, someone's in the wall. And that might be a penalty for that driver in front. And I think it is. But anyway, we need to focus on trying to get past this blue driver in front of us. But as I was saying, the track was super wet, and then now it's fully dry. But it looks like there might be some rain later on in this race, as you can see by that big black cloud, which not great, because I don't really know the wet lines around here, but Charlie helped me a bit on the track walk, so I sort of know what to do if it rains. But trying to find a way past this driver in front. He goes side by side with the blue guy, and he might get squeezed out there. We're gonna make sure we get a good exit onto the straight, and we might be able to send one up the inside into the first corner, and I think we might do. And we're just back out of it, but we're still slightly on the inside, but he cuts us up, so can't get the move done there. Really needing to try and catch up to the guys in front. Oh, and there's a big incident in front, and that's going to mean we gain a place, and that might mean another place. So we smash into the driver in front. Didn't really mean to do that there, but I think that's another 2 positions gained. And we're actually, I think we've made up a few positions this race. I think we're sort of back to where we started, about round 17th. Oh, as you can see, there's a droplet of water on the camera, so that might mean there's some rain to come in this race. We're going to follow this blue suit driver in front of us. Going into the hairpin, this is probably my strongest point on the track, on the brakes. He seems to be turning in way too early, which compromises his speed going onto this little straight in between the next 2 corners. Thoughts about a switch back there, but it wasn't quite going to happen. Now following him into pylon. He's taken a slightly defensive line, I think. Oh, and you can see the rain is starting to come down now. That might mean the slippery surface flag might be out in a second. But yeah, it's starting to rain a bit more on that side of the circuit. Going to the first turn, we're still able to sort of carry full grip. Still sort of the same, at the moment anyway. Into the first hairpin. Once again, the driver in front seems to turn in really early. Really clobber that curb on the inside of the first hairpin. And it seems to be working for him actually. And you see a few more droplets of rain are appearing on the camera, which means it's probably going to get quite slippy quite quickly. As you can see, it's definitely starting to drizzle now. You can see the rain coming down quite hard. I say quite hard, it's probably like drizzle. Oh, we actually get gapped there, to be honest. Not really sure what happened there. But going into first bend, blue driver thought about going up the inside of the guy in front, but not quite going to happen for him. Give him a little nudge. But yeah, get a big snap of oversteer mid-corner, which probably indicates the rain is coming down. Making sure to run it wide, and I think he just touched the barrier there actually. He ran it too wide. Oh, and you can see now it's all of a sudden it's just got very slippy, and we're going to get past the driver in front. You see, oh, and that guy clobbers the cone. That might be a cone penalty for him. And yeah, it's starting to get properly slippy now. going into the first corner, trying to hook on the curb now, and you can see, look, all of a sudden it's gone from being dry to being quite slippy. Into the first hairpin, braking slightly off the rubber. I wasn't really sure if it would actually help at the moment, but probably will if the rain keeps coming down. Trying to figure out the wet line around here. Yeah, there we go. Slippery surface flag is out now. So start thinking about taking wet lines now. But you can still hear some tyre score, which means there's still some grip on the surface. So into the first corner. Oh, big snap of oversteer. Can I hold it? Yeah, I can. Yeah, big snap of oversteer right there. And that's showing that the track's getting more slippy. And I think that's hail once again, more hail. And yeah, starting to get quite slippy now on the circuit. It's because on that day it was cold. And I guess that's why that's hail, because it was cold. And there was a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Catching the drivers in front now. But yeah, the kart just seemed to bog there quite a lot on the exit. I don't know if you just saw that. Yeah, look, you can properly see now like the wet marks on the circuit. Going down the main straight. Gonna see what line we're gonna take. I'm gonna just try and hook it on the inside there, which actually works quite a lot. But you can just hear me blipping the throttle trying to get the kart to spin round the corner. Because I prefer to have oversteer that you can control rather than understeer, which you can't really control. So, going towards second hairpin. Wet line, I think, is just keep it round the outside. But I actually hit quite a grippy patch there, so I might be able to pull off a switchback. I'm not quite able to. Gonna hook it on the inside once again around this corner. You see a good friend Jack Harrison in front. He knows this track inside and out, so he's probably going to be quite quick in these wet conditions. And I'm going to try and maximise my speed going onto the straight, but still not quite able to make the pass work. Into the first corner, hooking on the curb. It's sort of working, to be fair. And getting a big slap of oversteer through there. And having to feather the throttle around that corner, which isn't even really a corner in the dry, but in the wet it really is. Going into the first hairpin, getting a good run towards the second hairpin, turn in, full throttle, making sure to use all the exit, which I didn't really there, but should use all the exit. Gonna make sure to hook on the curb once again. Curbs around this track are very grippy. And around here you sort of just take the dry line. Not really anything different around the second part of pylon. And again, I'm trying to maximise our speed going onto the straight. But we are gaining a bit in the slipstream. Thinking about a move up the inside, almost made it. And now, whoa, you heard a lot of wheel spin coming out of that corner. In these Rotax karts, you do get quite a lot of wheel spin, and whoa! There's quite a lot of battling up in front of us, which we might be able to get some positions off. And there's a lot of contact there, but I get a nice switchback. And Jack Harrison is not happy there in front of us. And that's Jamie Tyler-Gooden, who's just re-overtaken us. And we thought about going back up the inside, but it looks like the track's just gripped up again. It looks like the track's just suddenly just lost all the water and regained grip. So, see going through the first corner, yeah, look, grip's just all come back now, which is quite interesting. This track just seemed to dry. Oh, we're gonna avoid an incident there. He just spanned right in front of us and we had to make sure to avoid that. And let's see if we can catch the drivers in front. It's the final lap now, and you can see the sun's come out and the track's fully gripped up once again. Jack Harrison is in front of us, and again there's quite a lot of battling going up in front. I'm going to see if we can get any more positions. Jack Harrison makes a lovely double overtake there at the hairpin, but he's under attack now from the driver, and he might be able to stick it around the outside. Jack Harrison holds it. Oh no, he doesn't actually. the driver makes it stick around the outside, and we're back past Jamie Gooden after he made a small mistake. Jack Harrison's going to try and find a way past the driver in front. I'm going to make sure to just maximise my exit speed going on to the final straight and head down, and that's going to be P10 across the start finish line, which is actually really decent considering at the start we got pummeled and lost tons of positions. Yeah, pretty happy with that race, and let's see how what I thought about it straight afterwards.
So, pretty decent race. I got first corner, got a good start, and then at the hairpin, I just got completely like smashed from behind. I got stuck between like two cars, dropped really far down. Then it started raining, got wet, started hailing actually, and I managed to get up to P10 from P17, which I'm actually really happy with. I drove really well in that race, didn't really make any mistakes, and yeah, hopefully in the next race I can make even more paces up.
So after that 3-lap practice, I felt like this kart was definitely on the pace, and I knew I could get some good positions in this race, so hopefully get a good start. And the lights go green, and I actually get a pretty rubbish start there. I don't really know what happened, the kart just didn't seem to want to go. And we're on the outside, but we actually only lost, I think 1, 2, or maybe 3 positions here. Oh, we almost get spun out there. Must have been another driver on the inside. I'm going to follow Jack Harrison through, and we're already almost into the top 5, but I'm on the outside for hairpin 2, and this is not going to end well for me, and I get podded from the side and almost go into the barrier there, and I'm sort of back to where I started in this race around P10, but I see there's another driver up or inside, and we might be able to hold the position, but we just can't quite hold it. Going to try and get back past orange driver. And he's defending quite hard. I'm going to try and go for a switchback, and it's a lovely move there. Probably one of my favourite overtakes of the day, that. Just set it up really nicely. And in front of us, Rory Hinckley, who actually did really well in the first race, but I think he got a few penalties which dropped him down a bit. But we need to try and find a way past him and try and catch up to the pack in front. Because we actually got a really good start, but I think at hairpin 2 we're just wrong place and we just got pushed out wide. But that's just racing. If you're on the outside, then I mean there's not much you can do really. And we're going to follow Rory. I'm going to try and find a way past him. Going into the first corner, are we able to make a move stick? But no, that's sort of the same line I take. I sort of go quite close on the inside. Because I feel like there's so much grip on the inside that you can just carry all that speed. And there's quite a lot of battling up in front. Jet Redfern has to take to the cut through. And me and Rory might be able to do well in this. And it's 3 wide going through here. And Rory gets shoved off wide. And there's another driver still on our inside. But I think that's Rory still on our inside there. So we might be able to hold him off. Make sure to give him the room. And oh wait, no, that's not Rory, that's Max. And there's another driver up the inside of him, so not a great couple of corners for us, because now we've lost those positions and we've lost more time. And that's Jamie Gooden up the inside, and that's another driver up or inside. It's really not looking good. And following Max going into the first hairpin, little nudge, I got nudged from behind which nudged me into him, and now he's going to get back at me. Lovely move from him. And I'm going to give him a little bump draft, which means we're going to both get past. Actually, maybe not. Jamie Gooden's still on our inside. This is great battling at round number 1. And following Jamie Gooden, get a really good exit onto this straight, and we're going to get straight back past him. This kart really seemed to come alive in sort of the middle part of this race. And following Max here, I think we're a bit too far back to go for any sort of move into turn 1. Turn 1? Hairpin 1. What am I on about? Following him through hairpin number 1. Hairpin number 2. making sure to use all the exit, which I actually don't. Max does more exit curb than I do. And I'm going to try and keep up with him, but I actually get a really slow exit coming out of that corner. That's probably my weakest corner on the track. And yeah, once again, hit the curb slightly too much, and that really slowed down my exit. Going to have to go defensive from the drivers behind, because I know that was a poor exit from me. Into first bend, and now make sure to carry the speed towards hairpin number 1. And there's, again, a lot of battling up in front, so let's see if we can grab any more positions. A few laps later, the gaps sort of stayed the same pretty much, and there's a driver in front of us, and he brakes really early, and we're going to send one up the inside from miles back. But I'm not sure we're going to be able to hold it because we get stuck on the curb, and we get a really shocking exit. And now I've got drivers inside, outside, I've got them everywhere, so there's nothing I can really do. Try and hold it around the outside, which might just about work. You can see all the shadows of the other drivers, and I'm going to make sure to go defensive into pylon, so I hold our position. Really didn't mean to go for that overtake. I sort of knew it wouldn't stick because sort of went into the corner a bit too quick, but it was quite a fun accidental overtake that. Into pylon. Oh, this is not pylon, this is stadium. What am I on about? Anyway, towards hairpin 1, making sure not to go for any stupid overtake again. The other driver runs quite wide in the exit, but he doesn't actually seem to lose much time. And once again, there's a lot of battling up in front. Jack Redfern's wide, and that driver goes heavily defensive, which is going to compromise them both going into pylon. And I sneak up the inside of Jack Redfern, who gives us the space. Thank you, Jack. And now I'm going to try and find a way past this driver in front of us. Get a lovely exit going onto straight, head down slipstream. Thought about a move up the inside, but he defends it later in the straight. Gonna make sure to go wide, cut back in, and get a nice exit going onto this little straight towards hairpin 1. Thought about a move up the inside, but back out. Just don't. I almost got sideswiped there. I don't know if you saw that shadow, but I sort of skipped a beat. My heart sort of skipped a beat there when I was driving around because I saw that shadow on the inside. I was like, oh no. But just narrowly avoiding being rolled over there, I think. But anyway, behind driver, we seem to be gaining on the guys in front, which are battling a lot. And I think Jack Harrison is in P2 at the moment. And we get a lovely exit going onto the straight. It's going to be another overtake, and we've made up a lot of places in this race, so good race so far. And Mikey gets shoved wide, and he's not happy about that. He knows I'm behind, so he's going to go nice and defensive. Going to try and hold it around the outside, but now that other driver's on our inside, so make sure to give him the space. But he might be able to get a switchback on us, but I think we just about hold it there. And let's see if we can gain any more time on the drivers in front, and we actually do. Going into pylon, catching up to Mikey a bit, through the last 2 corners, which I actually quite struggled with, because you really need to hook on that curb, and I sort of missed that curb as you saw. Going down the straight, Mikey's got a slipstream, so he's going to pull away from us a little bit. Let's see if we can gain any more positions. Now we're still behind Mikey, and the gaps sort of stayed very similar, and there's a lot of battling up in front, and I'm able to sweep round the outside of all of them. Great move there. Got past about 4 drivers there, but I think there's still someone up my inside. Yeah, that's Max Sheldon Hayward up our inside still. We're going to go, we see a gap open, Frederick sees us, he's going to try and defend, but we get loaded from behind, go onto the curve, and we're actually going to get shoved out wide, and we're going to end up in the barrier, and that loses all our progress and more, and we're back down into P10. So that was, I went for the move, got loaded from behind, and sadly the move just did not stick, so not best pleased about that. I'm going to try and get past the driver in the front, and it's yellow flag. And sadly it is yellow flag for the rest of the race, so we end up in P10. And it could have been so much more. I think we were in P2 at one point when we made that move, but sadly got loaded from behind and went into the barrier. And then it was yellow flag for the rest of the race, so not really anything I could have done. Yeah, but decent points to start off the season, so currently sitting in P7 in the championship, so I'm happy with my pace and I'm happy with my racecraft, but well, not much I could have done there in that final, but drove really well. Happy with that first race of the season. Hopefully get some better results at GYG in Wales. So see you in the next video.